Hey, I'm Jeff. I'm currently working in tech design. I'm working on the Argo multi-person utility vehicle, and today I'm just going to be showing you around the Argo, showing you a little bit of the process that's gone behind it, and all the work that's gone into it, really. So the Argo itself is primarily a capital ship support vehicle. So what it does is you'll have the Idris fly into a location, but it might not be able to go through an asteroid field or something like that, and the Argo can then fly in. It can pick up any survivors in one of its pods, or it can be fitted with a cargo pod with repair gear in the back of it. And with that repair gear, if the ship gets damaged, it can send out a crew of engineers. They can fly around to the damaged part of the ship, and they can then start fixing it back up. It's also going to be having, the Argo doesn't currently have this, it's still work in progress, but it's going to have a mechanical arm that also will be able to repair parts of the ship. But as I say, that's currently work in progress. Unfortunately, it won't be going out in the live version of the ship. It is very much a support vessel. It has no quantum drive, it has no weapons, it's lightly armoured, it's completely tethered to its parent ship, but at the same time, it's not really designed to be going out and doing its own individual thing. It's purely a support craft. The cargo itself has 3 pods. One is a cargo pod, which you may have seen in the CitizenCon video from last year, where we introduced the Stanton. The cargo pod has space for a limited amount of cargo, and it's also got a seat for one personnel to sit in during transport. It's also got a transport variant which has 8 seats in it for obviously larger scale personnel pick-up drop-off, which would be quite handy for when the Idris is in orbit and you need to send the Argo down to a planet. And finally, it's going to have a rescue and recovery pod, which we haven't finished yet. But this pod will have limited medical facilities, so if someone gets injured on the battlefield, you can cart them into it and then take them back up to the ship to receive proper care. The Argo is also going to eventually be able to attach and detach its pods. So currently the different versions of the Argo are different ships. So you've got the cargo Argo and the transport Argo, which each have their own bespoke pod. But eventually it'll be able to detach one pod, attach another, or even if it can get to an escape pod from a destroyed capital ship, for example, it could go and pick up one of their escape pods and then drop that off in the Idris or in whatever its parent ship would be at the time. And yeah, for a bit of the design process that went into the Argo, it used to have a much sort of smaller pod, but that was revealed to not really be able to store a lot of cargo. It couldn't really fit a person in with a lot of other stuff, so the pod was made much bigger. And it was given a rear ramp, so now picking up cargo, dropping it off is now considerably easier. It also looks a lot nicer, I think, personally. Also, the lower thrusters on the front of the ship, they're currently located underneath the cockpit, but previously they used to be actually on these thruster pucks, which are the circular objects that all the thrusters are mounted on. And what they would do is they used to fire down into the pod itself, which, yeah, we had to fix that because it didn't look too great. Right, is the thrusters on the Argo, on the legs, they don't rotate with the legs, so when it's landed it actually uses its legs as supports, and when it takes off the legs will rotate back into a fixed position so that they can help with flying, because the ends of the legs each have a main thruster on them, and they've also got the retros mounted in there. But the pucks themselves on the sides don't rotate, so they can actually help with takeoff and landing. Otherwise the ship would have a fairly hard time getting off the ground. There's also a few minor design changes that went through, like in the early versions of the Argo that the public may have seen. The legs were sloped much further forwards, so a lot of the weight at the back of the Argo was actually unsupported. There's a few videos that we got floating around where when the Argo is placed into a gravity box, the sheer weight of the Argo it would sort of rest on the floor for a few seconds and then just rock backwards. And yeah, that was a bit silly. But yeah, that's the Argo. It's a lovely little ship runner, basically. It's a skiff that is a general workhorse for all the capital ships, hopefully, we'll be thrown around.